Welcome. You are listening to the House of Yoga's podcast, The Pathway to Progress. We are here to inspire yoga teachers, teachers in training, and yoga lovers who are curious about the journey of becoming a yoga teacher, developing their teaching career and business, and for anyone who wants to enhance their yoga practice and get better at life. Hey, this is Jason, and I hope this finds you well. For today's conversation, I'm joined by two of our current yoga teacher trainees, Wendy and Jenny, who have completed 5 out of 8 teacher training weekends, which is a great achievement in itself. Wendy and Jenny, welcome. It's great to be speaking with you today.
Oh, thank you, Jason. Hello. Hi.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. All right, I'm going to jump straight in with the first question for today's discussion. And this is for both of you. So are you able to share with us and describe the methodology that you're learning in your teacher training program? Can you share with us a little sort of insight around that and how that's sort of supporting you and your development in your trainings?
Well, Marianne and Sasha start with the bare bones teaching. So JIP is split into like 11 series in 53 poses, but we learn the names of the first series of poses, and that means pretty quickly we can stand up in front of our fellow students and teach a class by just saying each pose as it stands. So really stripping it back, and then we're layering on our true north alignment and our pointer points, which are sort of directions for the body as you teach the yoga. So it's a sort of process of teaching very intentionally without any sort of extra words and it just means you can quickly start practicing the feeling of standing up in front of your fellow students to teach.
I love it. Yeah, so well said. So just for those guys that are listening in, so what Jenny's sharing is, so when she said bare bones and JIP, so bare bones is basically exactly what you were sharing, Jenny, which is really sort of stripping it back. You just mentioned that, right? So bringing it back to sort of simplicity, and bare bones literally just calling a pose. So when we start like learning to become a yoga teacher, we don't really want to experience the overwhelm because it's, there's fear already before sort of teaching. So just bringing it back to basics. And as you're saying, Jenny, bare bones, be it, let's say you just call the pose. So that could be downward dog or warrior one, and that's it to start with, right? And it sounds like through that process, you guys, that it's given you that sort of competence and confidence to sort of then grow even more into teaching sort of and adding more what we call tools into your tool belt, right? You mentioned JIP, Jenny, which again for you guys listening, that means Journey into Power, which is a 90-minute sequence that these guys are learning, that can definitely be broken down into shorter classes, such as like 45-minute classes or 75-minute classes. Thanks for sharing that, Jenny. So Wendy, in regards to the simplicity, just bringing it back to what we were talking about, bare bones, and then adding in more tools to your tool belt, would you say that's helped you in regards to learning, going through the process?
Yeah. So I think what I really like about this sequence is it's really adaptable to different people. So it's, as the name says, it's a journey into power. So it is a powerful sequence, but it covers a full range of the body and a full range of movement. And then you can adapt that in certain ways. And learning this sequence, you kind of know that you're going to have that as something to always fall back on, but be able to take it in a different direction, depending on what class you want to teach or what level you're teaching, or how experienced your students are. And even though, as Jenny said, it's oh gosh, what is it, 83? Testing myself. It's quite a few poses, but you are really able to remember it, and it really flows really well. And I think it's something that I will always come back to and be able to kind of have as a foundation as a teacher going forward. So I like that that's what we're starting our yoga teacher journey on, and then we'll be able to take that in different ways depending on what we want to focus on in classes, or kind of what we find personally more interesting. And it will be very adaptable.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that when you say accessibility, Wendy, and to be adaptable, because it's so important to have like that blueprint, that framework to begin with. You think about, do you guys drive?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember when you first started learning to drive? It's like you've got to sort of go through that process, right? And then over time, it's like you just become more confident and more relaxed. And it's the same with teaching yoga. You if you have a framework, if you have a sequence to learn, and it can be adaptable, as you were saying there, Wendy, for different kinds of people, different levels. It just really is a great way to have that security and actually start to have that inner belief. Just before we jumped onto this discussion today, Wendy, you were saying that you guys are feeling way more confident now. It's taken some time, for what, 5 weekends, but it's sort of right in regards to, you've got 8 weekends of teacher training. By weekend 5, you're feeling way more confident. That's so good to hear, and that's going to ripple through to when you teach your students.
Yeah, and one thing I was thinking, that even when I started my teacher training, I was actually nervous coming into that group, thinking, how good is everyone going to be at yoga, and am I going to be able to do things that other people can do? And no, I can't do everything that some people can do. And over this journey, I'm realizing that doesn't mean I'm good or bad. It means that we all have different bodies, and some people are hypermobile. Some people have strength in different areas. Some people's bodies are just built in different ways. And that, having the sequence, and from the beginning seeing that it can be stripped right down and it can be adapted in different ways, made me feel confident that I could even do that sequence myself to start. And then I've even actually stripped it back from what I was trying to do from the first week. I've actually, I will use a block in certain parts now, which actually allows me to get deeper into my body. And it is a really accessible framework for you as a teacher learning, because going into that room, you are all going to have different journeys and different experience, different bodies.
Yeah.
And actually just seeing the group of people, how people move in different ways through that sequence, is really interesting as well. And the sequence has been accessible to everyone in different ways. So I think that's very important as well, to a group of people who I guess are quite experienced in yoga.
Yeah, it really is. You're right. And so that, coming back to that accessibility, is really powerful, because you can teach, right? You could have beginners, new people coming into the class. You could have seasoned yogis, more experienced, but still be able to teach all of them. And so with this same sequence, but they're obviously experiencing it slightly different, and meaning, some of them are going to be doing modifications, some of them are going to be bringing variations in. And so that's a great part of, again, that's another, a great element of your teaching. Thanks, Wendy. I'm just going to pass the next question over to you, Jenny, in regards to, everything else that you're learning in the training. There's a lot of content, and there's some awesome stuff, as you guys know now. Would you say that what you're learning is impacting you in your day-to-day life? So even out of teacher training, the teacher training weekends, so what you're experiencing, what you're absorbing and learning, would you say it's impacting your day-to-day life?
Absolutely. I think that's one of the main things that I've been inspired about in the yoga training, because as well as the asanas, we're learning meditation, and we're also doing some life coaching to become more self-aware of like who we are as people. And I have found that the meditation has helped me to turn up at work with a clearer mind, and I'm more present, and I've got a new self-awareness as to how I come across to other people. And I think I'm using that with the people I work with to be clearer and more positive and more compassionate towards them.
Wow.
So it's really affected their lives too. I think it's all connected, definitely.
Amazing. I love hearing that. It's sort of like a ripple effect. I know you shared this right in one of our monthly check-in calls. I love it. Great, Jenny. Keep it flowing. For sure.
I will, yeah.
What about you, Wendy, in regards to what you're learning and how it's impacting you off the mat in your day-to-day life?
Yeah, well, yeah, similar to Jenny. I mean, it's hard to explain until you go through it, but this experience is absolutely life-changing, and it is incredible. It's amazing. And it's just it's reflecting thinking about how you are on your mat in terms of coming up against struggles and trying to get yourself into a position. How does that feel? And breathing through it, or pulling back when the time is right. And there's so much that you can take from your practice on your mat into your life. And when people would talk, and actually you guys were just using the word flow, and if I said flow, I'd always think, oh, yoga, flowing, going quite quickly, sweating, getting a workout done. That's what I have previously thought of that word. And then we had a big actually session at our last weekend, and one of the facilitators there, Jeff, he was talking a lot about being in flow. And I've now come to think of that in a different way, and it's actually kind of, now I'm taking that as flowing through and letting things come to me and going with things rather than trying to be against them. And it's just such a powerful way to think about your everyday life. And it's just having a huge impact on me personally, and as Jenny said, those around me, my family and friends, and just people that I interact with on a daily basis. Can you just flow through things, because we all come up against problems and fears and resilience and different personalities and whatever, and being in that state of flow is just it's just so powerful.
Special, isn't it? Yeah, I know you guys, weekend 5 that you recently had, the flow conversation, and that being like an experience in life, was sort of, you guys explored that, right? And it's amazing, because like you were saying there, Wendy, we are either resisting and sort of going upstream with whatever's showing up, or just allowing ourselves to just be in that state that you're saying, being that experience of flow and ease and relaxation. Because this conversation that we're talking about right now, right, being what you're learning in your training and it impacting you outside or in your day-to-day life, is what we talk about. We've been talking about quite a bit on our monthly check-in calls, is just getting better at life. Like last night I was speaking with some other trainees, and we're talking about meditation, as what you were just sharing, Jenny, in regards to, you've noticed that feeling, how you're showing up more compassionate, and how it's a ripple effect out. And it's really just getting better at life, right? Not just getting better at yoga, but getting better at teaching, but actually just getting better at life. And I'm hearing that's what you guys are experiencing, and I think it's brilliant. It's really inspiring, and long may it continue.
I mean, just add to that, I went into this obviously being like, I want to be able to be a yoga teacher and have that qualification, and it'll be good for my body and my mind. And it's becoming so much more. It's really, even if I don't end up teaching yoga one day, this will be like one of the best experiences I've ever done, because it's hugely developed me as an individual. And I see the teaching yoga as hopefully it will happen. Let's see. I'll go with the flow. Whereas this other stuff is, I'm grabbing onto it because it really is life changing.
Brilliant. Yeah, so cool. All right, let's explore like a typical training day. So, you guys go in at weekends, 1 weekend a month, right? Can you just share with our listeners a typical training day, and what that actually looks like to be part of the 200-hour training at the House Yoga? Can you just give us a little bit of insight into the days?
Well, we all arrive at the studio, and we sit in a big circle, And at the start, we didn't know each other, so we did like sort of get to know you kind of stuff.
That first weekend, right?
The first weekend.
When there's
When you
excitement
don't
and
know,
fear.
there's that excitement and that nervousness. But now we're on weekend 5. It's just so lovely to see those people that you've got that connection with. Then usually we start with something physical, like either a yoga class, or we do a self practice. And then we have specialists come in, like we had is it Alex for anatomy, and then we've had Eva for yoga philosophy. We had Jeff who did meditation. We have asana clinics on all the different yoga poses. We do some practice teaching of each series of poses. And we also do a session of self-awareness and looking into becoming more self-aware about who we are and what we're holding back and how we can shift those patterns. So it's a hugely varied day, and we have lots of breaks for coffee as well.
Most importantly, right?
Exactly.
I love that. Yeah, so they're long days, right? There's a lot of energy that's needed in regards to, what is it? You start like 8 a.m. on a Saturday, finish at 6 p.m. Same on a Sunday, or maybe a little bit earlier on a Sunday, but long days and lots of content. But how do you feel like at the end of the weekend? Let's say you get to you've just completed weekend 5, right? Which was last weekend. Wendy, do you want to share a little bit around like how are you left at the end of a teacher training weekend?
Yeah. Well, you are definitely tired. It is. They are tiring. They're physical days often. But again, you can adjust if it's, you have to adjust what's right for your body. But they're physical and they are long days. But they fly by, and I find that I am concentrating and listening the entire time. My mind's not wandering off. And then when you finish the weekend, especially actually this last weekend 5, which ours was very focused on personal growth and visualization, and I just feel really excited and inspired, and that I want to write all this down. So actually that's what I'm trying to do more of in the weekends, write stuff down, or as soon as I've had one, write it down, because otherwise it does kind of go out of your mind. But writing down these things that I've learned, or these like kind of breakthrough moments, and take those into actually changing my life. So after the weekend 5, I just felt, I'm just getting so swept up in my worries and distractions and kind of social media and all these things, and I just want to, as I said, be with flow and be present to my everyday life. And I'm just trying to make small changes, but they're having a huge impact, and that's really been inspired from that whole weekend, and it's really helping me visualize the future of my life. Just from that weekend, it's kind of like a reset, and it's really powerful, and it leaves you feeling very strong and positive. And the group that we're doing, so there's about 24 of us. It's just incredible, and everyone's got different stories and different journeys, different ages, different walks of life, and to be with that group of like-minded people wanting to explore these topics together is just such a unique, amazing opportunity. And I want to go out and kind of spread that in the world with people that I'm coming across that probably haven't been exposed to a lot of this stuff. And even some of my friends now, when I have a yoga weekend, they're like, "Oh, what happened this weekend? Tell us." And they want to hear about it as well. So to be able to share it, it's really special. And I genuinely feel like the content that I've learned and that I can help myself and help others in bringing something different to their life.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's really a special thing, that proximity is power, meaning, you surround, like you were just sharing, Wendy, that, you surround yourself with like-minded people, that they're in, you're all in the same training, you're on the same journey, but it's sort of a different journey as well, because there's different things happening in all of our lives. But That's such a beautiful thing, right, you guys, that having that support network and the energy of the weekends it is, as you said, it's really inspiring and uplifting, and it's so important in life, right, that we surround ourselves with people that we do have that support, and they do lift us up and we lift them up, and together we can go to some great experiences. And I've always said with teacher trainings that, I don't know if you guys can remember from that very first morning when your training started. When was that? Back in January? Right?
January.
Yeah, that very first. I bet that seems a long time away now.
Yeah.
Remember me saying, or myself and the team saying that, one of the special parts of this journey for you guys is going to be the connection and the support and the energy of the group. And like you guys have created that, which is a really special thing. All right, awesome. So let's talk about the possibility of, what I call aha moments, potential breakthroughs and insights that trainees can experience during the journey. You've shared a little bit here. Can you share with us, be a bit more specific around, have you had any light bulb moments so far? This is what I call these aha moments, or Satori moments, right? Satori moments are what we call an insightful moment. Can you share a little bit with us around this?
I've had one of those moments standing up in teaching a yoga class, is that you need to be nothing more than yourself, and that you don't have to put on an act. You just have to stand back. And when you've got the JIP embodied within you, you've got those tools in your tool belt. You stand back and you be yourself and you watch the moment, and you don't really need to have prepared anything. You just need to be there with what you know, be yourself, and see what your students need. And that's a real freedom.
Amazing. I love that. Like I just wrote that down actually, Jenny, when you said that. You need to be nothing but yourself. Like that's such a powerful insight for us, right? And not needing to be anyone else. And yeah, wow. How, in regards to that, then that insight, what's possible? Can you share with us what's possible, your realization, your discovery of, wow, I just need to be nothing but myself, just be Jenny. What's possible for you then, Jenny? If you were to experience more of that off the mat as well, I mean, it's a pretty powerful experience.
Yeah, it's very empowering. And I think that the thing that is most possible is that you can, every moment you can be in your life and you can enjoy what you're doing, and keep on and growing. So that's all you need in life, I think.
I'm sort of up for that. I mean, yes,
yeah.
having fun and growing and developing, right? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool existence.
Exactly. Yeah.
How about you, Wendy? You got anything to share here around aha moments, the light bulb, the light goes on? It's like, wow, that was an insightful moment.
Yeah, I do have lots, but the one that does stand out is there's a quote quite early on in the training manual, and it's, don't know who said this, but it's change your story, change your life. And initially I was like, oh, I love that, and I was like, yeah, I'm changing my story. Like, I used to work in finance, I'm now training to become a yoga teacher, I'm taking control of my life, and I'm changing the story by investing in myself and giving myself different possibilities. So for the first few months, that's how I was seeing that, and I was like, yeah, I'm taking control. And actually, just the last month, I've kind of realized, actually, for me, this quote now means something very different. And I'm now thinking about what's the story that I am telling myself about my life. And I have the power and the control to tell myself the story about what's happening. And that is how I am changing my life. And
wow.
taking control of that storytelling of, you know, you can see things in one way, and the story you tell yourself is going to impact how you feel, and you know, the pain or the suffering or the joy, and it can be the exact same moment, but how you've seen it and how you've interpreted it can completely change its meaning to you. And that's now what I'm seeing is actually becoming a yoga teacher. That's not going to suddenly make me successful or more successful than I was before. Is how I envisage the story and how I, yeah, what am I telling myself? And that is just now taking it to another level of what I initially thought that kind of interpreted that quote to mean.
That is incredible. Yeah.
And that is, yeah, pretty life-changing.
It really is, just that alone, right? Let alone becoming, you know, learning all the skills and the tools to teach and to stand up, as you guys have been sharing throughout this discussion, and, you know, just to be yourself, but actually to have that breakthrough, that insight that I can actually, I have the power, I have the power within to actually change the story. Meaning, you know, for a lot of us, the stories that we create in our own mind, as you guys know, going through, you know, a lot of exploring this content in the training, is a lot of the stories that we can tell ourselves don't work, as in they, you know, they put us down, or they stop us moving forwards, and hold us back. And sounds like you're in that place, Wendy, that actually the realization that you can create a new story, you can create a new story that empowers you and has you showing up better in life, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, definitely. Like, yeah, the way that I interpret things, I have that power, and I can get my mind, it's possible to get my mind into a way that I can see things very differently than maybe I previously have, or, you know, I can make that choice every time. Yeah, of course, that's not easy, but it's something that I'm working on, and just keep coming back to, what's the story I'm telling myself of that thing that's happened? Is that true?
Yeah, and do you know that to be true?
Or am
exactly.
Or am I running away with myself? So it's just a really grounding, and, you know, you can even apply that to when we have to practice teach for 5 minutes. Suddenly you're like, oh my God, I'm going to be awful. I'm going to forget the sequence. This is going to be terrible for everyone. You've suddenly created this story by just being told you're going to teach for 5 minutes. And then when you do it, it's nothing. The reality is nothing like that. It's exhilarating. It's amazing. If you forget it, it's fine. Everyone helps you. And the story that you create leading up to that moment is completely different to the reality. So it's all those little things in the training, you see them on a smaller scale that you can bring forward into your life on a larger scale, or even a smaller scale as well, when little things go wrong on an everyday basis, or
moment to moment, challenges. Right? Yeah. Wow. I mean, would you say that then is, you know, when we think about yoga and we put ourselves on a yoga mat and we breathe and we move and we meditate, and the impact of that, like the byproduct is, you know, self-reflection and self-nurture and self-awareness, right? We become more self-aware. So when we're more self-aware, like what you're saying here, Wendy, is becoming more self-aware. So you then can change it. You can literally change the story that's going on in your mind, be it a small thing or a big thing, and then literally change your experience of life in the moment.
That's now what I'm seeing, and it has taken me months to, I thought I was seeing something different to start, but now I'm seeing that, and it's, you know, it's taken, and I'm still going on that journey. But we do actually have the power to change our minds, and, you know, neuroplasticity is a proven concept, and we can change the way our minds think by coming back to these little things on a regular basis. You can retrain your mind to think in a different way.
And that's real yoga, right? That's the real yoga we're talking about, which is amazing. Well, listen, it's been so good, you guys. You shared, you know, for our listeners, you shared sort of the methodology that you're learning and how that's impacting you on a day-to-day, not even just on your yoga mat or teaching, but actually in your day-to-day life. you've described a typical training day, what that looks like, what it feels like. It's pretty exhilarating, as you said. And these aha moments, these insightful, what I call satori moments, that can literally change the course of, change the moment and change the future, which is pretty awesome. I've loved it. I've loved speaking to you guys. Thank you so much. Listen, myself and the team are proud of you guys, and obviously, the whole group. And what have you got? Weekend 6 coming up, which is going to be a lot of physical assisting. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, we've got 3 more weekends, which is exciting but so sad at the same time. But
I know, I feel the same. I feel that I want to have a weekend every month for the rest of my life.
Maybe you'll see Jenny and I on future trainings doing it again.
It's just everything has to come to an end, right? But actually, it's just the beginning as well. It opens up a whole new possibility. And hey, but you're still you've got 3 more weekends. You've still got quite a bit to go. So that's really exciting. I really appreciate your time, you guys, today. Thanks for joining. Much appreciated.
Oh, you're so welcome. It was great to be a part of it. I feel quite inspired now.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm just really thankful for this program. So thank you to you and everyone at the House of Yoga for designing it, because it's amazing.
Oh, you're so welcome. And thank you to you guys listening. We really appreciate you coming on and listening to these insightful conversations. Everyone, have an awesome day. So my friends, if you've enjoyed today's discussion, please hit the button to subscribe to this channel, and also the like button. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram. You will find us at the House of Yoga _. Thanks so much for listening, and have a wonderful day.